Welcome to another episode of Digital Dexterity. I'm Wes McChristian, Vice President of our Kentico practice here at Americaneagle.com. In today's episode, we're joined by our good friend, Sean Wright. Sean, you're a friend of the show. You've been on a couple times now, but I'd love to have you introduce yourself for any new listeners.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name's Sean Wright, as Wes mentioned, and I'm lead product evangelist with Kentico. And that role might sound unfamiliar to many people, but what it involves is me talking with our partner agencies and our customers about the value and the impact of our product experience by Kentico, making sure people are aware of what it's capable of and how it can transform their agency business or their marketing business.
It's your job to spread the good word of Kentico to the masses.
Yep.
And you and I think, often find ourselves talking about philosophy, digital philosophy. I would categorize a lot of those conversations as like a cerebral approach to like, how do we advance business processes using technology, specifically Kentico. And in today's episode, I think what we're hoping to talk through, Sean, is AI philosophy, AI readiness. This topic is something you can't go a day without hearing about. And I think when last you and I spoke, we were really kind of like focusing in on this build versus buy conundrum. And it's something that's always been present, but is even more so present now. I hate to make a joke of it, but like vibe coding is a thing now, right? Right.
Yeah.
I, as a marketer, as a business user, can go in ChatGPT and Claude and like I can write code. I mean, if I do that, you're going to have a bad day, but I can do that. And so I'd love to just start by unpacking some of the considerations in this paradigm. Things like security, compliance, human intervention, human interaction. I'd love your thoughts just to maybe kick us off here.
Yeah, I think the build versus buy question is one of many that exist in the technology space for marketing teams, for organizations. It's been around for a long time. I think there are new questions that people are asking with the advent of AI, and especially in the last year where we've seen it become more and more incorporated into organizations' processes across the board. But I don't think that AI makes the question of build versus buy go away. So I don't think that vibe coding is the solution to the question. I think the question maybe just has new things that you take into account when you ask it. AI brings new technology opportunities to the table, but yeah, it doesn't really solve the problem. And I think that's because the question of build versus buy is not about the capability. It's not about, can I build it? Because as we've seen with AI, in many cases, people believe now that yes, they can build it. AI can help them build anything, everything. If I just let the AI churn and run long enough, I will be able to build anything that I ask it to. But I think that's only true if you believe that the technology solutions that AI is capable of building as being just code. So if you buy a SaaS product, if you buy something off the shelf, if you buy something like Kentico, is it just the code? Even then, I think it's really pushing it to say that AI can go ahead and build that. There's a lot of marketing out there that maybe would lead you to believe it's possible. I have my own skepticism, and there's many people falling in many areas of that spectrum of whether or not that's possible. But even just taking that away, is the technology solution that is available out there in the marketplace, is it just code?
My answer is no. No, Sean. It's not, right? Because, you lived the agency life before you were at Kentico. We have been in business here at Americaneagle.com for 30 years. What you're really buying when you do business with us, when an end user does business with you, is decades of experience understanding where all the bodies are buried, right? And and AI might have some context for that. It might help you get to an endpoint faster, but the answer to your question is unequivocally no. It's not just code. It's experience and emotion that lead to business decisions.
Yeah, just like Americaneagle.com, Kentico has been in the marketing space for a long time, marketing technology specifically for us. And when someone does business with us, they are, yes, buying a license to the software. But the software, like you're saying, is more than just code. It is experience. It's that 20 years of experience, over 20 years of experience that we have. It's security guarantees, it's compliance, it's having someone to go to when something happens. And if a very enthusiastic employee at a business vibe codes a marketing technology solution, is that person also able to provide guarantees around security and compliance? Well, they'd probably have to go to that AI agent that built the software and ask it, hey, can you give me security and uptime guarantees with this software that you built me, Mr. AI? Is the business okay with that guarantee of security and compliance being delegated to an AI? My guess is no. Now, if you, as an employee of a business, vibe code a line of business app that you use as an individual to help you get more work done, I'd say you are the type of employee I would like to have on my team, because I think that's a perfect use case for AI. And I think it accelerates what people are able to do in their roles. But if you were to tell me that, hey, I vibe coded the new HR software that we're going to use internally, or the new finance tool that we're going to use internally, I'd say, well, that's very enthusiastic of you to be able to do that. But I don't think as a business, we are ready to take that software that was just, vibe coded, whether it was done over an afternoon or multiple weeks, and say, we have all the trust in the world and that it will be able to, achieve what we need it to do.
Yeah, I do. I do a lot of like pre-project strategy and solution as part of my role. Folks that are doing some degree of evaluation, they're looking for, hey, what's the right fit to solve this problem? And the problem varies for everybody. But you touched on something a little ways back there that I think it's incredibly important. It's this intersection between what the technology does at its core, right? The code you mentioned, right? That the AI could just write for us. But then like the actual use case for it, it's almost this marketing and technology intersection. And what I like about the philosophy that you guys have adopted is you get all of the security and compliance guardrails that Kentico has to offer, your SOC 2 compliance, right? Best practices around security. We're PCI level 1 compliant on our data center, right? Like that sort of stuff. But you've then taken AI and woven it into the product itself. So now this intersection of technology and marketing, you get those guardrails, right? From a diligence and a procurement perspective, if you will, right? To solve that problem. But now I have access, as a marketer, I have access to a well-vetted, well-thought-out, product-based tool set inside the UI that helps me get farther, faster, helps me build strategies that solicit engagement, don't just reduce effort on the build process for the technology itself, which I think is neat to think about, because when we engage in project-based work, we often hear like, oh, we'll do that in the next phase. Or, let's put that in the freezer. We'll do it later. That dreaded future phase now gets really closer and more achievable. We're sort of inherently reducing barriers to business-driven outcomes because of, for instance, the strategy that you all have taken with an established, trusted product, grounded in decades of experience, but now incorporating emerging technology because that's what people are excited about.
Yeah, let me take one step back and then walk back forward to where what you're talking about right here. So someone can vibe code a website and they can get it to market fast. So time to market,
Yep.
instant. You don't even need a website builder anymore. The marketing team can give a prompt to an AI agent and have that website up and running in an hour.
Yep.
But is that really the goal? Is that really the goal that the marketing team should be aiming for? Just a website? Is that actually bringing value? And so I think we've talked offline about the difference between time to market and time to value.
You got it.
And I think that AI can enable both.
Right.
But unless you know what you're doing with it, you might be really focusing on the time to market, getting somewhere fast, which I think is something that a startup is very focused on.
Yep.
Right? They're focused on finding the right solution to the problem as quickly as possible because they don't know what it is. They're going to pivot 10, 15 times.
Yep.
And all their early customers are going to be coming along on that ride with them through that churn. But the excitement is maybe worth it. And more veteran businesses, the veteran mindset that have been through that experience many times, either on the agency side or on the vendor side, is time to value. Because they know that they need to get to the right thing fast to have an impact, but it needs to be the right thing.
And I think that outlines the value of picking a path that incorporates trust and staying power, right? Because, to call back to what you said earlier, right? If I don't have an SLA, if I don't have a guarantee for uptime, like that's potentially not a good solution. Like that's not something I can trust to create value inside of a business direction. And I've had to really sort of change my brain a little bit because for us, like in a project-based engagement for us here at the agency, launch is a fairly arbitrary milestone. It's important. Don't get me wrong. I don't mean to be reductive at all, but all the cool stuff happens later. All the cool stuff happens next, right? Because that project sets a foundation for growth. It sets a foundation for ROI. And in this discussion of time to market versus time to value, I get value faster when I use components, when I use established, trusted technology that are going to assure a return on investment. It's not a question mark, as opposed to some of these, like if I were to go and just use Lovable to create my own website off, in an afternoon. But I think it also speaks to the competitive nature of technology evolution. I mean, we've seen this in our, because in the early aughts, we built our own content management system. We crafted partnerships with organizations like yours because it wasn't the right fit anymore. Technology evolved. Mobile became a incredible priority for folks. Like I see a lot of parallels to that, right? This new medium for users to engage with things like content. And what I like about what you're doing at Kentico is you're sort of staying ahead of that competitive curve by progressively and responsibly adopting technology that makes a difference.
Yeah. Yeah, I think two things happen when you have these technology disruptions. One is that the cost of what is standard today goes down.
Yep.
So, getting a website to market, the cost of that is going down, and it will likely go down considerably. At the same time, the scope of what is possible goes up, increases. And for a marketing team that is trying to create digital experiences and get those in front of customers, they're looking at maybe one of these things or hopefully both of them. But if they're only looking at one of them, if they're only looking at the total cost of a website, then they're going to chase that to the lowest common denominator. And they're going to say, job done. We cut that cost for us, our budgets. We can, maybe decrease the budget. Well, marketing team likely isn't going to say that, right? They probably don't want their budget to just drop to zero because the cost of launching a website goes to zero. But I could see other people, other stakeholders within an organization seeing that and saying that, well, this technology disruption means that you don't need to spend anything anymore. AI is going to build a website. It could even build a great website. An analogy here is when your 401k is doing great.
I've been waiting for this. Sean. This is good. Yeah. This is going to be my favorite part of the episode because you told me this last week, and it is just so spot on. So I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to share my excitement, but keep going.
Yeah, no problem. So the question is, when things are going well, does that mean that you say, "Oh, things are going well. That's fine. I don't need to do anything. I'm just going to sit back and relax"? When your 401k is performing well, does that mean that you stop investing? Does that mean that, well, it's doing well enough now? I'm actually getting returns that are satisfying what my goals were previously, so I can stop investing. If anyone has that mindset in the business world, they aren't going to be in the business world for very long. When things are going well, you invest. You invest more. In fact, I think most investors would tell you whether things are going well or not going well, you continue to invest. But especially when there is this type of digital transformation, this disruption, and the opportunity to do even more with AI is there, you don't pull back and say, well, AI can handle it for us. We can get that website out, costs are down, everything's great. No, you say, what can we do with this budget now? Now that the idea of getting a website launched, the cost of that has gone down. What are we going to do with that budget? Are we going to do more? Are we going to take those things that previously were in phase 2, 3, 4, 5 that never get achieved because they're outside the budget, they're outside the scope? Maybe now we can bring those into scope. Maybe now we can turn those things into phase 1. Invest in that 401k now that things are going well. Now that the costs are of the standard of today and yesterday are dropping. Instead of saying everything's fine, we're good now, we can just walk away and let things, handle themselves. Instead, double down, focus on it, invest, increase the scope.
Because in practical terms, what that means is not only have I achieved faster time to value, but customization becomes more efficient, right? Something tailored specific to my needs, my problems, is now inherently more achievable with the use of a strategy like this, where I'm not intending to reduce my spend necessarily. I'm intending to go farther with what I had intended to invest originally. And I think you guys are bringing to market some cool tools that make that really achievable. Would you mind just unpacking the agentic marketing suite here for a minute, to just sort of like, okay, we're just sort of talking about this, like the idea and the philosophy of AI and like, how do I get farther faster? But like, you've actually made it practical. So can we spend a minute talking about that as well?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it will end up coming back around to the question of build versus buy and maybe giving an answer to that question. So we believe that not only should AI be used to help build the solution, but AI should also be the solution. It should be in the solution. It should be seamless. So with Kentico, we have the Agentic Marketing Suite, which is fully incorporated with our AI solution to digital marketing tasks and challenges. And that's AIRA. And AIRA, AI recommendations and assistance, combined with a suite of agents within the product, will help marketers accomplish those tasks faster, get insights so that they can then optimize and deliver experiences and messaging that will convert, that will drive engagement with their customers. To make it concrete, in just a couple days, when we launch our first agent within the Agentic Marketing Suite, a marketer will log into Experience by Kentico, and they will have access to the content strategist. And that strategist is an agent that they can interact with and ask simple questions like, does this page and all of its content coming from the Content Hub and the page itself and widgets and all of it, does it meet my guidelines for my content strategy? Things like voice and tone and style. Does it meet what I'm trying to do as a marketer on this marketing team? And where does those guidelines come from? They come from your content brief, your marketing strategy that is uploaded into Experience by Kentico and refined and crafted with the content strategist agent. All of that context is available within Experience by Kentico, and the agent can use it to ground and refine and provide feedback about the content and the experiences that are within the product that your customers are seeing to make sure that everything lines up. And that agent is just there available to the marketer to make sure that, everything lines up, everything looks good. We are getting to market fast, but we are making sure that we are aiming at the right thing.
And then this suite of tools, right? AIRA being the umbrella, content strategist coming in a couple days. And then knowing what I know about the roadmap, over the next couple months, let's call it 4 to 6 months, we'll see campaign launch. We'll see experimentation, such as A/B testing, for instance, powered by this agentic marketing suite. So, I mean, there's historically been a lot of barriers to doing these things. Of course, time, right? Like in my day, or time amongst the team, bandwidth and allocation. And where I see the opportunity of these toolings is they become digital teammates, right? They become members of the marketing team that are constantly working behind the scenes at the directive of human business objectives. And I think it's a really exciting opportunity for, I think, lean marketing teams, small marketing teams, and not to say that these are mutually exclusive, but also B2B opportunities where maybe there's a physical sales team still in market that requires a lot of marketing support. And this tool set helps enhance their capabilities digitally, because that strategist and that campaign manager and the experimentation, it's constantly collecting analytics and measurement and turning that into actionable items for the team to support a physical sales force, for instance. That observability and measurement that comes with a tool set like this, I think is just really exciting for use cases like that.
Yeah, it absolutely helps that marketing team be able to do more. Like I mentioned, decrease the costs of the things they're doing today. So launching campaigns, cost of that in terms of marketing time goes down, but also increase the scope. So the marketer is able to gain insights about the performance of that campaign, see the impact on the customer journey, which is available in Experience by Kentico, and with the customer journey agent, be able to optimize and gain additional insights about the performance of that campaign. So it's all within the product. Now, that's kind of the buy side of things. What about the build? Well, Experience by Kentico is designed to allow agencies and their clients to build the solution that fits their needs. So traditionally with the buy solution, you kind of get something and then you have to conform yourself to fit that. But because Experience by Kentico is customizable, adaptable, you can build it to meet your needs instead of having to fit yourself to the product. And AI also informs that build side of things. So we have this umbrella term, Kentico Pilot, which is a suite of tools and concepts and support to help software developers use AI with Experience by Kentico to build solutions faster. And so our answer to the build versus buy question is why not both?
Why not both? Love it. So, and I think that like, I think we often use words like automation in conversations like this, but what we're really talking about is delegation. Is, in this world of why not both, we're delegating tasks to virtual team members, but you're still accountable for the output. That's where I think this intersection is important, right? Because you get the trust that comes with a solid foundation, product that you've purchased or licensed, experienced by Kentico. But and maybe to pull it back to like the B2B, whether you're professional services, your product catalog, your manufacturing, most of those business models are not as commoditized as you might think. And so this then opens the door to utilizing a modern tech stack to achieve modern business goals.
Yeah. And that why not both solution, I think, is something that lines up perfectly with B2B because B2B doesn't have the budget to build everything from scratch. While, some organizations, huge budgets, and really they need to go in and just build the solution from scratch for themselves to meet their specific need. And they have the capability to do that. And they have the size of the team to do that. They have the marketing team that can manage and conceptualize this giant bespoke solution. But B2B can't do that. They need to buy something that already incorporates a lot of that solution into a package that a smaller marketing team can handle. However, they also have the need to customize because B2B is always something that incorporates the specific business needs and the way of doing business that organization has. So, it's like, well, we've been doing business this way for 20 years and it works for us and it works for our customers. And we don't want to throw that out the window just because we're buying a solution. So they can also tailor it to fit their specific need.
And so like what tips do you have for general readiness? I mean, I think we put this series on for members of the community. I think that's probably our primary audience, folks that are using Kentico today, maybe other agencies out in the ecosystem. Certainly, maybe folks that aren't engaged with an agency as well. But what would you say to somebody who's staring down the barrel of a decision and they're asking themselves, am I ready for this philosophy? What tips do you have for how do I start?
Yeah, I think something that B2B organizations often take for granted and maybe haven't reflected on in a while is what is that process? What are they doing today that is unique to them? How does their workflow actually operate? Who are the people that are involved? Where are they spending most of their time? And if they can answer those questions, then I think they are ready to see where AI can help them transform and help them disrupt the industry that they are in and get the edge over their competitors. But they have to be able to answer those questions first. Otherwise, well, of course, they can get to market quickly. They can really hit the nail on the head with time to market. But will they see the impact of time to value. They have to be able to answer those questions. They have to have done their homework and, of course, likely using AI to do that self-reflection. But they need to figure out how their business operates today, who is involved, what those processes are. And then they can think and look for the opportunities to bring AI in and say, yeah, this is going to help us. So just as a very specific example to turn this theorizing into something more concrete. With B2B, it's often difficult to launch a new channel. Like B2C,
Yeah.
they launch new channels all day, every day, whether that's adopting social or a new email channel to launch campaigns through, or even doing something physical in the real world and having that be a new channel that they engage their customers through. In B2B, launching a new channel is often very intimidating. Why is that? What is it about that company's process that limits them from being able to say, all right, we're doing social tomorrow, this specific social media channel? Why can't they do that? What would be the thing that would stop them or traditionally has stopped them? Is it the size of their marketing team? Is it not knowing what that message is? Is it not knowing how to communicate that product line or the product value? Is it just not having the ability to wrangle the technology to launch that channel effectively? So I think the more that a B2B organization understands who's involved, what the workflows are, what the process is like, how they do business, and define that, the better they will be able to launch that new channel, to be able to engage with their customers in a way that their competitors don't. And potentially even corner that channel or become the organization that is known for being very effective in that channel.
Yeah, I totally agree that the winning mentality is what's my edge, apply it to my digital philosophy, and figure out where AI helps from there. Because maybe it's Brenda in marketing is spending a lot of time on the product data. Or maybe it's, well, I have all this stale content that's still published and users are having an inconsistent experience with that content out in the market. By collecting the data and the anecdotes and the interviews from the stakeholders that you reference, like you start to expose where some of those individual, unique business problems exist so that you can start to tackle them either individually or holistically across this spectrum of decisions that we've been discussing.
Yeah, I completely agree.
So great. Sean, this was a wonderful conversation. Really appreciate it. Super excited about everything that Kentico is doing to solve marketing problems in the technology space. I think the agentic marketing suite is super exciting. So just want to say thank you for joining us for another episode.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Wes. I'm happy to come back anytime.
Awesome. And to all our listeners, we'll catch you on the next one.